Symbolic, it's a big word. It's a big kind of big picture idea. I'm not so sure I'd call it symbolic. I would just say it's testament to that group of guys. We had worked all week long about trying to create chances or enough quality chances for us to get at least one. And I think they did that. If you look at the stat sheet, I think we did enough to create at least enough to get one. So the defense did their job. Steph did a great job. The back four, everybody did a good job team defensively. But to your point, Matt, it's testament to them. They created enough chances. They got one.
Steve? Seemed like the team really looked ready from the start today, whereas there's been a couple of early goals conceded the last 2 weeks. Is that just a product of playing at home, or is there more that you can attribute that to?
This is a very difficult league to win games. Obviously, the statistics there show that home teams have an advantage. Certainly, home teams that score first. You guys probably do more research on those stats than I do. What we wanted to do today was to make sure that we put them under pressure early, that they felt like, look, oh, geez, this is going to be a long afternoon. And I think the guys came out and they accomplished that. So our messaging throughout the week was twofold. Obviously, to try and avoid some of the slow starts, but the details are always how do you prevent those slow starts. So it's a little bit better possession early on. It's a little higher up the field, pressure higher up the field. Some of those things we addressed during the week, and it manifested itself into a good performance tonight.
Patricio?
Coach, knowing we don't have that many games left to qualify for the playoff, why we still play with just one forward and don't be a little more aggressive to just go there and get done with it?
The formation, the 4-2-3-1, is what we had since I started, just based on what I felt would make the best chance for the team to win games. I haven't come off that idea, but what I will say is that Nelson has come on and really tonight and really had a tremendous performance. He had a calming effect for Jordan. And I think you can't lose track of that I have someone that I can bring on and we can change depending on the game. So as we progress through the season, those things are always going in my mind. But for the right here, right now, Jordan gives us, what I think the team needs. And then I know when I call on Nelson or I call on Eric Freeberg, who's been a big part of this team for many years, I actually have a bench where I can bring players on and they can actually make impact in the games. So as a coaching staff, we always look to see if there's any better ways to win games. And even after tonight's victory, based on what we see on the film, we'll certainly have that discussion.
Jackson.
Coach, with 6 matches left, is there a point where you start scoreboard watching a little bit, or is it still just controlling what you can control?
It's still just enjoying this moment. We live in the moment, and I will go through today. Obviously, we'll watch scores later today, but I'm going to enjoy the day. The players are enjoying the day. They're very jovial in the locker room, and then we'll go back to work on Monday, and we will start working on our next opponent.
Brian?
Coach, what was the mood like in the locker room at halftime? You guys had controlled much of the first half and about 65% possession, still unable to find a breakthrough, especially knowing now that you guys needed to score and try and come away with 3 points. What was the halftime talk like?
Well, the mood in the locker room was determined because they knew they had played well. That was some of the best soccer we've played, with or without Clint, that I've seen in a long time. I think both Jovan and Tyrone picked their moments to go forward. I think the midfield play was good. Christian and Ozzy are a good pair. Andreas and Flaco had good performances in the first half, so they were determined. The messaging was just to reward themselves for the hard work that they had done in the first half. The messaging was we need to find that one piece of quality that would give us a chance to break through and score the first goal. And I think, again, if you look at that goal, I mean, that's a good goal by any standard. and it's also a brave goal because Jordan sticking his head in there, it's not easy. But he does, and he gets the goal, and that's his reward.
Matt. Big crowd today, maybe some of them haven't seen Roman Torres before. Can you talk about his performance and in tight spaces, and there were a couple big pressure moments that he came up big?
Sure. Roman has a pedigree that is impressive. So these are the types of performances that we expected when we signed Roman. And so it doesn't come as big a surprise to me because I've seen him in training for the last month and a half. But certainly for all of you guys, for all of the fans, I think it's impressive. He's a big guy, and you could say, okay, faster guys might get around him, whatever, but he deals with that. You know, he knows his body, he knows the angles, he knows the opponents. So I think that was a performance that you guys will see more often. And if you look at Roman and Chad as a pair, pretty good pair, pretty good center backs there.
And how is Chad?
Why do you ask? He's fine. He's great. He's very happy. He won the game. They're all very happy. He's 100% fine.
Spencer.
You've started Flaco a few times now. How would you evaluate his play so far?
It was good. It was steady. We had talked about, Ante had talked about, playing outside of their box, their two center backs and their two holding mids, and, Flaco being just on the edge of that box, coming inside and getting a couple of balls where he could turn and face, or if the guy comes tight with Flaco, that Tyrone could get in behind, and I think you saw that manifest itself in the game. So his positional sense was very good. He obviously has a lot of technical ability, so his passing is good. So I thought it was a very good performance by Flaco. But then, again, he's part of the group, and I think the whole group today had a really good offensive performance.
John.
Coach, you talked about the defense, but what about Stefan Fry's rather unusual save?
Well, Steph's rather unusual save came from probably the only mistake that we made at the back. And this is becoming a broken record, but we are such a good team in a sense that the team always looks out for each other. And so, okay, somebody can hold a guy on side, and then Steph comes and he provides us with that last line of defense, which is actually his job, and he does it very well. So that was a big-time save. It kept us in the game at that moment. And, at the end of the game, he came out and caught some crosses very clean. And I never felt that we were really put under that much pressure. We understood what Carl was trying to do with his counterattacking football. It almost worked for them. But, I was very pleased with Steph's performance.
All right.
10 goals this season now for Jordan Morris. Was it kind of an extra good sign for you as a coach to see him come through in a moment that big and show that he's not intimidated by the stage as a rookie?
Well, he still may have butterflies because they're big games, which is normal. That little scramble there where maybe he hits it first time, he controls it, whatever, and then he comes back and scores the goal. I think that shows some maturity because, look, strikers are they're characters. They're like Robbie Keane. They're nice guys like Jordan. They're executioners like Dempsey. I mean, each guy has his own little bit of personality, and so Jordan just has to keep finding his way. I mean, he's such a hardworking kid that things will go right for him. He has so many good starting points with his size, his speed, his athleticism. He's going to be successful. He just needs to make sure that he, becomes a student of the game and just is aware of everything that goes around him, and he'll create even more. I mean, 10 is not, okay, we still have 6 games left. He could get more. We're expecting him to get more. And he has that ability to do that.
Toby.
Coach, this is your first clean sheet in about 9 games or so. Can you talk a little bit about the performance of the defense as a unit?
Well, we had talked ad nauseum during the week about preventing set-piece goals, so that's number one. Well, the last couple of games on set, ever since the Portland game. So our set-piece defending was good. Our overall team defense, I think, has been good for a couple of games. You know, we have individual mistakes that happen. Nobody's perfect. But overall, the team defending has been very good. And starting with Steph and moving forward, it's been very good. What we discussed tonight prior to going out to the game is we knew we were going to have a higher line of confrontation. And actually, defending started with Jordan, with Nico, with Flaco and Andreas, and how they pressed and when they pressed, we had discussed and made sure that everybody was on the same page.
Coach, team got to meet Nathan and his family before the game. Can you talk about maybe what kind of positive impact and perspective that gives the team?
Well, the story I like to tell is that, you know, there's people, you know, my parents are getting older. Some of my friends' parents have passed away, and you know, you have kids that have life-threatening terminal injuries and stuff like that. It always gives us a chance to pause and look at what's really important. So what I always say, and what I said to the team before the game was, thank you, number one, for letting the kid come around, and Dempsey did a great job. I mean, Clint was good. He went around the locker room and made sure that the kid got to meet every one of our players, which was something special. But then what I told him was, you can't be afraid of death because it's going to happen. You know, it's inevitable. But what you can be afraid of is making sure that you don't do great things as you're living. And so that's the message that I want them to have in those types of moments. But it was a great moment for the kids, family, and you know, we as a club, as an organization, will do anything to make those types of requests happen.
Follow-ups, guys? Tricio?
Coach, John's being a good defense and coming towards now in the field. Do you think that making him to feel the right to be forward more longer than necessary? Because in the game, it sounded like he was forward, going forward.
You're
He got back fast enough.
Who were you talking about?
John?
Jovan?
Yeah, no, James D. John? James D. John?
Jovan Jones.
Yeah.
Jovan Jones is a very talented left back. In our 4-2-3-1, it's important that the outside backs go and they can contribute in the attack. So I don't think that Jovan attacks too much or too little. I think the balance was okay tonight. But what I do have of what I'm very proud of is the guy has an injury, has a broken toe. And he played through the pain of that broken toe to have a performance like he did. So it just shows again the team is sacrificing everything for us to make the playoffs. Everybody from Jovan Jones to the goalkeeper to the forwards, the whole team is together.
Matt?
What was the inspiration behind using Zach as a stoppage time substitute?
I don't know if it's inspiration, Matt. I think it's just they were sending Waston up front, and I needed Zach to, you know, win some headers. Zach deserves a lot. He deserves a lot of credit for that locker room because he's been here from day one. He is the constant. When the new guys have come on board, he's imparted some of what is, you know, the sounders. What does it mean to be a sounder? A lot of that credit goes to him. So it wasn't a choice of just, hey, let's get Zach on in this game. I actually needed him to defend and win some of the headers late in the game.
Given his role as that sort of guy within the club's history, was there any, you didn't want to use symbolism earlier, but Jordan coming off, sort of the up-and-comer, and Zach, the old guard, replacing him there at the end?
That was not scripted. You guys can write it up however you like, but I'm telling you honestly, that was not scripted.